So for anyone new to the channel, hit subscribe because there will be more wrestling content coming in the next week. I will have my review of Wrestle Carnival X Pro Wrestling Noah Super Show from Nottingham. That's going to be great. I will have more WWE talk, more AEW talk. There's a lot to talk about. There's Quake at the Lake next week. It's mental, but hit subscribe. And now, yes, I've relegated myself this weekend to just doing list videos apparently. So I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to FTTR, I am Ewan McQuaid, and today we are talking about WWE yet again because Triple H is making some big old plays over there. So last night on SmackDown, we saw the return of Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux fully pushed into the main event scene. It's mental, it's basically becoming NXT over there, and Shayna Baszler's the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm loving all this. Absolutely loving it. So I want to talk about something I never really thought I'd talk about ever, and that is potential signings for WWE, because for so long it was the next in line program that they had going down in developmental, getting all like collegiate athletes and everything signed. No indie wrestlers, no top indie names, but now it appears Triple H is bringing back into the fold some of those wrestlers who were let go during the pandemic and sort of 2021. So I want to talk about some of those guys and some of the people that Triple H could bring in to improve his already pretty decent product that he's got going on at the moment. So here's my list. Shall we just get straight into it? So coming in at number 5, a name you may not have heard of, but easily one of my favourite wrestlers on the planet right now. If you watch Progress, you know who I'm talking about, and that is Spike Trave. Now, for anyone who's not aware of who Spike Trave is, he plays an incredible villain, a very aristocratic, conservative villain, which here in the UK, you know, that'll get you booed. Being a conservative, it'll get you a hell of a lot of heat, and he's an excellent heat magnet in Progress and other UK-based promotions, but he's also a fantastic storyteller in the ring. Just go and watch on the network his matches in his series with Karrion. It's absolutely incredible. He had an insane match, a hardcore match earlier this year with Luke Jacobs as well, which is absolutely terrific. He uses such innovative spots, and he's also just so good on the mic that he's an asset that I'm shocked hasn't already been scooped up by NXT UK. Because I thought he would be in there already, maybe even beating Tyler Bate for the championship. So I'm shocked he hasn't been signed already. I think he's going to pay off this story with Karrion, and then he's probably bound for WWE, which I think would be great. I'd love to see him on the main roster. Just a really classic villain, which is something that's, you know, sorely lacking on the main roster. Is a really concise, well-spoken, just dickhead, because Roman's cool. Spike Trave is just a prick, and I think those two differentiate themselves. He could be a megastar on the main roster. Next up, this is technically 2, but I'm gonna group them both together. You know who I'm talking about. It's Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. These two, for me, Johnny Gargano at one point was my favourite wrestler in the world, bar none. Absolutely bar none. His match with Andrade at TakeOver Philadelphia is one of my top 10 matches of all time, and I'd just love to see him wrestling again. I feel like I haven't seen him wrestle in ages. I love him as a babyface. I love him as a heel. He's so good and he's so dynamic. And Candice LeRae in her own right is also fantastic. She had a barn burner. I can't remember which TakeOver it was at. I want to say it was TakeOver 25 against, I think it was against Io Shirai. Banger, absolute banger. And those two work so well together, but they're also so good apart. They're so versatile. They can fit any mold, and they're both great wrestlers. Candice would fit so well, I think, in the SmackDown women's division, and I think Johnny would be a really good top face on Raw. So, yeah, bring those two into the fold, Trips. You know he's looking at that spreadsheet and he's going, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, I need them back. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's why they're number 4. Staying on the women's division, let's talk about Tegan Knox, who, to be honest, I haven't really haven't really heard from or seen any sort of matches she's done post WWE. Obviously, she was a litany of injuries, which was so sad in WWE because she kept every big moment there was an injury, and she's a really, really good babyface. Extremely talented wrestler. I'd love to see her alongside Subculture. Maybe pop up a Clash of the Castle. Shout out to the person whose name I'm forgetting that commented that yesterday. Shout out to you. And yeah, I'd just love to see her back in the ring because I think she's so great, and that plucky underdog babyface. I thought maybe you could get that with Shotzi on SmackDown, but plucky underdog babyface on Raw. Hell yeah, because Bianca's so strong, and I like that presentation of her, but the plucky underdog babyface, while it hasn't worked with Liv Morgan, is a time-tested trope. It can easily work on Raw. So I'd be extremely excited to see Tegan Knox come back, and to be honest, I think it will. I think this one I'm pretty certain about Tegan Knox coming back. Right, so this is probably my most out there pick, because this guy's done so much since leaving WWE. It'd be, why would he want to go back? And that is Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona on the Indies he's the king of the Indies, absolute king of the Indies. He's been tearing it up in every promotion he goes to, whether it be GCW, he's coming over here to the UK for TNT Wrestling and GCW crossover, NWA, Impact. He's been doing great stuff absolutely everywhere. He's essentially doing the mould that Cody Rhodes set out when he was released. So if he follows that pattern, maybe he could come back to WWE, and he would be, if you treat him like a star the same way Cody Rhodes was, because if Cody Rhodes left WWE at the time that he did and then came back a year later, you wouldn't get that same WrestleMania entrance. But I think Matt Cardona has left and built himself up so much to the level, maybe not the exact same level as a Cody, but to a similar degree. I think you could get an awesome run out of Cardona in WWE, maybe even vying for that top world championship, especially if they split the two championships. Have Matt Cardona on SmackDown, Cody on Raw. Those two, I believe, are good friends. I think they are. If they are, there's a picture of them being friends above my face. I think they'd be great. I think he'd be extremely great in WWE again, and it'd be almost full circle to see Matt Cardona come back. And yeah, I'd be excited to see that. And coming in at number 1, I love being out there with my picks like I was for my Clash at the Castle video. You know, Harry Smith probably isn't coming back at Clash of the Castle, but sometimes you've just got to go with the obvious pick, haven't you? You've got to steer the ship that way. And who else would it be? It's got to be... I realise there's a mic in the way. But who else would it be other than Wyndham Rotunda, The Fiend? Because, of course, it's Bray. Of course we want Bray to come back. That is the most baffling release that has happened since 2020. Since the batch of releases came out, more than Braun, more than Kurt Angle, more than Rusev, all of them. Bray, to release Bray is mental. And Triple H can probably see that. He's probably on the phone now, calling Wyndham Rotunda, begging him to come back. Absolutely begging him, because he is a top merch seller. It's a license to print money. The Fiend is an absolute license to just print money everywhere, because there's so many aspects of his character that you can sell from. And not just that, fans were incredibly into him at Mania, even at Hell in a Cell. The fans were so angry because they'd ruined what they loved, which was The Fiend. It wasn't necessarily the finish, which again was terrible. It's that thought of taking away something that was so great, which was Bray. Whether it be Bray coming back as The Fiend, whether he comes back as Spooky Bray, whether he comes back as Cult Leader Bray, he needs to be brought back into the fold with WWE, because personally, of all the promotions out there, I think he fits most in WWE. You couldn't do The Fiend in AEW. You could potentially do The Fiend in Impact to an extent, but WWE has all the smoke and mirrors, everything around it, and it would be a perfect return for just one night. Someone's cutting a promo, maybe Roman's cutting a promo, and then it's just all the lights turn out and the Fiend comes out. Because if I remember correctly, since Bray lost the title to Roman, they didn't have any sort of interactions whatsoever. I think the Fiend went straight onto Randy, if I'm correct. And it's just mental. I think Roman Fiend could main event any pay-per-view again, one-on-one. And I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked that they released him in the first place. It still baffles me. So yeah, Bray is my number one. Taking the easy way out here. I want to know your picks down in the comments below. Let me know who you think Triple H should sign to WWE, and I'll reply to every single one of them. Thank you all ever so much for your support. Hit subscribe, and have a nice day.